Thank you, Mr. President. I stand in favor of this, and I want to thank our good senator from Southern Oregon, who started out today by saying that he was pleased with all the people who put some time and effort into this bill. I am one of those, and it came as an important bill to me when the original bill came out as a moratorium completely. And I have a number of friends on the South Coast who do this as a recreational activity, and a number of them had talked to me. But the people I have talked to all indicated that it has been getting more crowded, and that we do need to look at this issue. And so I got involved and actually worked with a group of senators on the opposite side of the aisle from me, and had some really, I thought, great conversations. The governor's office was also involved, and a lot of ideas that are in this bill came in large part from those conversations. And I appreciate the people who drafted this and put this bill together. The real issue here are the multiple uses that we have in our great outdoors. And I'm one of those people who loves tourism and would love to have lots of different people doing it. Recreational mining, my belief, can bring families together and do some benefits to the streams with removal of the materials that you've seen on them. At the same time, when they're close together and you're trying to raft and you have 4 or 5 of them in one hole trying to figure out something, getting through that does create conflicts, and I think there's ways to regulate that. I think the bill addresses that by having them no closer than 500 feet together. It also is not a moratorium for 850 permit holders, which is the number of permit holders that we had back in 2009. Why that number? Because California did do a moratorium. Idaho has pretty much cut it down. And so we're one of the few states in the West that still allows it, and those people are looking for a place to come. But you can't have it both ways. When I hear my colleagues saying there's only 600 permits that are being used, basically what this bill does is it allows for another 250 permits. So it's not reducing the permits or the people who are using it, because they said only 600 were using it. It does allow us to consider, while we make the decisions and how we do the studies. This summer, when they get out to study, the permits are already out there. They expect about 3,500. They'll get to see what that impact is. Next summer, when it goes down to 850, they'll get to see what that impact is. We've talked a lot about salmon, and we've talked a lot about bull trout, but we haven't talked about a native fish that is really important to the Native American people that I work with in the Committee on Indian Services, and that's the lamprey, which has had a major decline and has a much different life history in our streams than do either of the others. Salmon stay around for a while. Some stay for a year. Some go right out to the ocean. But lamprey take their first 6 or 7 years in the sands, mud, and gravel beds of the streams. That's where they live and grow. And I contend that if I'm doing a mining activity that sucks all the ground up, it's going to be sucking a lot of lamprey up. Not something that everybody else enjoys, not something that a lot of people here have had a taste of, but it sucks them up, spreads them out so they can flop across a little deal as they're checking to see if there's gold in it. And I hope that we start doing some studies on understanding how all of those different critters interact. We passed a really important bill earlier this week on our hatchery. One of the things we haven't done is the studies that would indicate whether this really does have an effect on our salmon and our trout and our lamprey. And I'm hopeful that that new bill will include money to get out in these rivers and check them over as time goes on. People need to understand that this is really a compromise bill. There is no moratorium unless we can't come up with some kind of decisions in the next 2 years. I am committed to making sure that we do come up with those solutions, or moving the moratorium on and to keep those number of permits there. I think this is a well-crafted bill that will lead to a better understanding of our streams. We'll cut down on the conflicts that are happening already, and this summer we'll get to find out if there's more conflicts or not, and then back off for the following year and see if, as we move forward as a group in this state, we find solutions for the multiple uses of our great outdoors. I really appreciate the fact that they are making sure that the people who have had the permits the longest have the first chance. So those people that we were talking about that are coming from Florida and others, many of them have been coming from years, and they will be in that priority list. The people who have been using it are doing a good job. I urge your support.